Oh, excuse me. Um, let's see. Put the chat box over here. This over here. Let's see here. All right. So, shout out to Jay from Canada. Um, told me to use GROK. I got this contract from UFC Gym, and it's pretty one-sided. Now, I've had two people tell me to take it anyway because it's a good opportunity. Um, it's minimum wage, and they take minimum 55% of any private lessons. For anybody who is a trainer, that's pretty high. Let's ask Google. What's the average? Give me the high. Give me the high and the low averages for what gyms will take from a trainer for private lessons.
Here is information from Kickoff.
What's the averages, high and low of a gym's cut of private lessons from a trainer? Damn, 40 and 60%? Okay, I guess that's industry standard. Anyway, look, I was actually going considering it, and the reason I didn't is because it reminded me of like this overarching theme of me not being able to stick up for myself in my life. I got my kids um, basically taken from me by the court system because nobody in my family stuck up for me. Everybody was like, Luke's crazy, and let's just do what the court says. I had nobody fighting for my kids to have their father in their life. They just wanted me to do what the court said, and the court was doing what somebody who didn't have a father in their life said. So why would the court want my kids to have their father? And I wasn't helping by acting out because I had a brain injury, still have a brain injury, but back then I didn't know I had a brain injury, and I was just like flustered with life. Um, like divorce and going through the legal system and not having access to my kids. It was driving me crazy. That I admit. I did go crazy. And you would too if that happened to you. So anyway, my dad, he was or is kind of like not encouraging. It's more like do what I say or else type of thing. Because he's a police officer, a military police officer. Yeah, I don't fault him for it. I'm just explaining to you why I've never been able to stick up for myself and have just kind of like gone along with, you know, what's happening. Just try not to rock the boat. Be a good soldier. And I see this minimum wage, and I go, fuck. I'm worth something. I'm not just some guy coming off the street, begging for a job. I've actually been in the UFC, which is something that no zero people in that place can say. Not even one person could say that. And I'm not saying that out of ego. I'm talking about dollars and cents here. That's got to be worth something more than minimum wage. What a kid who's never had a job before and is coming in to clean the mats, they're going to make minimum wage. That's the minimum. So that got me thinking. And the 45% maximum that I would get out of my privates, that got me thinking also. So I throw the whole contract into GROK. I downloaded the PDF. I said, "Hey GROK, can you take a PDF and make it into plain English for me?" No problem. Thank you, Elon. So I'm gonna try to catch you up a little bit, and we'll just go over the things that are stopping me from signing this, and then I'll tell you what my next move is. So we're gonna use over here. We're gonna use GROK, and we're gonna use Love Voice, which is another AI program, and um, I don't know. What kind of voice should we use? Michelle. Michelle's the name of the my ex-girlfriend who told me not to use League of Assassins. So she's got a part in this. Let's hear what Michelle says.
Hashtag risks to your idea. Given your concern that UFC Gym might steal your idea, here are the main risks based on this clause.
Hold on, stop. That's not what I wanted to do. Where is the? Here it is. This is number one. We're gonna get to the worst part at the end. So far, we're pretty bad so far. This one right here, but this is pretty much standard UFC in general, not just UFC Gym. Their operating practices. Here we go.
Key points Permission UFC Gym can use your image, voice, or biography from events like photo shoots or social media campaigns in ads, brochures, websites, or other media, forever, worldwide. Ownership UFC Gym owns anything created with your image or likeness. You can't use or share these materials without their written permission. No pay you won't get paid for the use of your image or likeness. No approval you can't control how UFC Gym uses or edits your image. Risk you accept all risks, like injury, from participating in events and won't sue UFC Gym for any related issues.
That's not
Legal stuff this follows the laws of the state where you work. It doesn't change your at-will employment. Action needed sign this to allow UFC Gym to use your image.
All right. That's a big red flag. UFC Gym can use your image, voice, or biography from events, blah 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 blah, or other media forever, worldwide. UFC Gyms owns anything created with your image or likeness. You can't use or share these materials without their written permission. You won't get paid for use of your image or likeness. You can't control how UFC Gym uses or edits your image. You accept all risks from participating. Alright, well, that's true. I mean, it is MMA, right? Alright. So, red flag number 2. Red flag number 1, minimum wage. Red flag number 2, they own my ass. Um, where is it? This is, here we go. This is what got me, and this is probably going to be the nail in the coffin, to be honest, because it's going to take so much to get around this that I don't think they're going to do it. They're probably going to say, not worth it for them. I'm going to have to walk away.
Hashtag, hashtag 2. Exhibit A, Proprietary Information and Inventions Agreement, pages 3 to 7. What's this about? Asterisk asterisk. This agreement protects UFC Gym's confidential information and ensures the company owns any work-related inventions or ideas you create. Key points asterisk asterisk. Confidentiality asterisk asterisk. You can't share UFC Gym's private information, like customer lists, business plans, or trade secrets, with anyone outside the company, even after you leave. You must return all company materials when your job ends. Inventions asterisk asterisk. Anything you create, invent, or design related to UFC Gym's business, during work hours or using company resources, belongs to the company. This includes patents, copyrights, and other intellectual property. Exceptions: inventions you create entirely on your own time, without using company resources, are yours, unless they relate to UFC Gym's business or result from your work for them. If you have prior inventions or ideas, list them in Appendix B to clarify they're not owned by UFC Gym. Third-party information asterisk asterisk. You can't use or share confidential information from past employers or others while working for UFC Gym. Non-compete asterisk asterisk. While employed, you can't work for or help a competitor of UFC Gym. Ongoing obligations asterisk asterisk. Your duty to keep information confidential and assign inventions to UFC Gym continues after your employment ends.
Alright, what's up, bro? See you in the chat. I got an offer to teach, to be a trainer at UFC Gym. You can see the video here of me working out with a Gracie Baja black belt. We're doing an MMA workout. That video is on my channel. But when I saw that they were only offering me minimum wage, it raised a red flag. And they're also going to take at least 55% of my privates. And the less privates I do, the more they take. So I was hesitant to sign, and they just kept sending these emails telling me to sign the contract. And it's a red flag for me. So I took the whole contract, 22 pages, and I uploaded it to GROK. And I asked GROK to put it into plain English for me. And that's when I found out that not only were they offering me pennies, but peanuts, but also they wanted to own my likeness, own my ass, and here's the kicker. What we just heard was that anything you create, invent, or design related to UFC Gym's business during work hours or using company resources belongs to the company. This includes patents, copyrights, or other intellectual property. So I go to GROK. I said, look, just to catch you up, because I've been using ChatGPT. I said, I been training martial arts since 1995. It's going to come up on 30 years. This is my life. This is my blood, sweat, and tears. It's called Master Lukey Incorporated. It's a spiritual mission for me. And I've sacrificed a lot. So I'm not just going to let UFC Gym steal it. And according to this contract, it is a risk if I sign for $16.50 an hour and less than half of my private lessons. You're saying UFC robs their fighters. Why would they not do the same to you? It's unfortunate. Yeah, so that's what I was saying. I might have to walk away from this because I emailed the person who sent me the contract and I said basically, the manager of the gym is trying to get me to sign, but I have questions about the contract. So do I talk to you or do I talk to somebody else? And she says, no, this you don't talk to me. You talk to somebody else. So I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna include that person in our next conversation. So I'm waiting to hear back, and I'm gonna use GROK to put together what I'm gonna say. So let me just catch you up to what GROK is saying. Okay? So I'm gonna take this here and I'm gonna go piece by piece. Just so if you're interested you can see where I'm at with all this. I'm using a program called Love Voice, LUVVOICE.com, AI voice. And I'm plugging in what GROK told me.
Thanks for sharing the translated contract excerpt. This inventions clause is indeed one-sided and aligns with UFC Gym's pattern of securing broad intellectual property, IP, rights, as seen in their standard practices. Below, I'll break down the clause, address your concern about protecting your 30-year martial arts idea, and provide actionable steps to safeguard it using Appendix B and other measures. Since you're worried about UFC Gym stealing your idea, I'll focus on ensuring your IP remains yours and minimizing their ability to claim it. #### analysis of the inventions clause. The clause is designed to give UFC Gym ownership of a wide range of IP created in connection with their business, with limited exceptions. Here's a breakdown of its key components and implications. 1. Broad ownership by UFC Gym. Scope ***, anything you create, invent, or design related to UFC Gym's business, e.g., training methods, martial arts techniques, branding, or equipment, during work hours or using their resources, e.g., gym facilities, computers, or staff, is automatically owned by UFC Gym. IP types ***, this includes patents, e.g., for a novel training device, copyrights, e.g., for written manuals or videos, and other IP like trademarks or trade secrets. Implication ***, if you develop or refine your martial arts idea while working with UFC Gym, they could claim ownership, especially if you use their gym, teach classes there, or discuss your idea with their staff. Given your idea's 30-year history, you need to ensure it's clearly excluded from this clause. Inventions ***, anything you create, invent, or design related to UFC Gym's business, during work hours or using company resources, belongs to the company. This includes patents, copyrights, and other intellectual property. Exceptions. Inventions you create entirely on your own time, without using company resources, are yours, unless they relate to UFC Gym's business or result from your work for them. If you have prior inventions or ideas, list them in Appendix B to clarify they're not owned by UFC Gym. Third-party information ***. You can't use or share confidential information from past employers or others while working for UFC Gym. Non-compete ***. While employed, you can't work for or help a competitor of UFC Gym. Ongoing obligations ***. Your duty to keep information confidential and assign inventions to UFC Gym continues after your employment ends. Legal stuff ***. If you break this agreement, UFC Gym.
Alright, we got the idea. My brother texted me. You have to make sacrifices. I'm not saying that I'm not going to work. I'm just saying that if I can't protect literally my life's mission, I'm not going to let UFC steal it. And according to this contract, that is a risk. And as far as me listening to AI, um, no offense, but I think AI is smarter than any human. Not just you. You know, it's like literally the world's intelligence. You know, I'll probably just get a job at Costco, reapply there or some other place. Lowe's is
2.
hiring.
Exceptions. Personal time and resources ***.
If I'm only going to be making minimum wage anyway, why would I risk my life's work for minimum wage? I could probably even make more at some other place. I'm not, this isn't like self-sabotaging me not wanting to work. I was ready to sign this contract. The first thing was I saw a minimum wage. That was a red flag. The second thing was when I put the contract to to be translated by AI, I saw that they want to own my image, and there's a very real risk, especially if I do what I wanted to do there, which is promote Master Luki's League of Champions in that octagon, that they could be stolen right out from under me. And that's exactly what this is saying.
Inventions created entirely on your own time, without using UFC Gym's resources, remain yours, but only if they don't relate to UFC Gym's business or result from your work for them. Issue ***. The phrase, relate to UFC Gym's business, is vague and could be interpreted broadly, as UFC Gym's business includes martial arts, fitness, and training programs. Your martial arts idea, even if developed independently, could be argued to relate to their business, putting it at risk. Similarly, result from your work could encompass anything inspired by your role at the gym, e.g., teaching or training. Implication ***. This exception is narrow and may not fully protect your idea unless you can prove it was developed entirely outside UFC Gym's influence and doesn't connect to their operations.
There is a chance though, because there's a Appendix B. That's what we're going to learn about now. Appendix B, which is where, you know, I could potentially protect my intellectual property. Okay? Intellectual property theft is very real. AI is wonderful. I use it all the time. Me too. Thanks for being on my side, bro. I appreciate you checking out. Take care, brother or sister. I don't know. I didn't mean to assume your gender there. Have a good one.
3. Appendix B for prior inventions. Purpose ***. Appendix B allows you to list prior inventions or ideas to clarify they're not owned by UFC Gym. Key opportunity ***. This is your primary tool within the contract to protect your 30-year martial arts idea. By listing it in Appendix B, you can establish that it's pre-existing IP and not subject to UFC Gym's ownership claims. Potential limitation ***. The contract doesn't specify whether listing an idea in Appendix B fully exempts it from all claims, e.g., if you use it at the gym, or whether UFC Gym could still restrict its use under other clauses, e.g., non-compete or confidentiality terms. You'll need to ensure the listing is comprehensive and clear. ### risks to your idea. Given your concern that UFC Gym might steal your idea, here are the main risks based on this clause. Claiming ownership ***. If you teach, refine, or document your martial arts idea, e.g., a unique training system, while working at UFC Gym, they could claim it as theirs, arguing it was developed during work hours or relates to their business. Broad interpretation ***. The vague language relates to UFC Gym's business, gives them flexibility to assert ownership over your idea, even if it predates your involvement. Use without permission ***. Even if you list your idea in Appendix B, UFC Gym might argue they can use it if you incorporate it into their classes or programs, especially if you use their facilities. Legal costs ***. If UFC Gym claims your idea, you'd need to prove it's yours, via documentation and Appendix B, which could involve costly litigation. UFC's history of aggressive IP enforcement, e.g., controlling fighter likenesses and brand terms, suggests they're not shy about legal battles.
So I will just do a little bit of the next section because this is going to tell me how to protect it in Appendix B. But we won't get too far into it because there's document your ideas
### steps to protect your idea. To safeguard your 30-year martial arts idea, you'll need to use Appendix B effectively, document your IP, and consider legal and strategic measures. Here's a detailed plan. #####1. List your idea in Appendix B. Be specific and comprehensive ***. In Appendix B, describe your martial arts idea in detail to clearly establish it as pre-existing IP. Include nature of the idea ***. Is it a training methodology, a set of techniques, a philosophy, a branding concept, or a combination? For example, a proprietary martial arts training system developed over 30 years, focusing on specific principles or techniques. Key components ***. List specific elements, e.g., named techniques, curriculum structure, or teaching methods, to avoid ambiguity. Development history ***. Note that it was created over 30 years, predating your involvement with UFC Gym, to reinforce its status as your IP. Format ***. If possible, attach a detailed description or document as an exhibit to Appendix B, signed and dated, to strengthen your claim. Example wording ***. The following is my pre-existing intellectual property, developed independently over 30 years prior to any engagement with UFC Gym, and is not subject to ownership or use by UFC Gym without my written consent. Detailed description of your martial arts system, including named techniques, training manuals, or other materials. Clarify usage ***. state that UFC Gym has no right to use, reproduce, or adapt your idea without a separate licensing agreement. For example, any use of this IP by UFC Gym requires a written licensing agreement with terms for compensation. Avoid overdisclosure ***. Describe enough to protect your idea but avoid sharing trade secrets or proprietary details that UFC Gym could misuse if the contract is breached. I understand you want to draft an email to Lacey, the contact handling the UFC Gym contract details, using the Black Swan method as outlined by Chris Voss, which you've simplified into the MAL7S acronym: mirror, audit, label, 7-second pause, summarize. Your goal is to express your 30 years of martial arts experience, emphasize the importance of protecting your personal brand and intellectual property in Appendix B, and propose either working on it yourself with AI or having UFC Gym's legal team collaborate with you to create a mutually beneficial agreement. You're less than 10% confident they'll agree, prepared to walk away, and concerned about your membership status and training time if you take another job. Based on our prior conversations, April 16th and 17th, 2025, you've been reviewing a 22-page UFC Gym employment contract for an MMA coach role in Long Island, New York, with a base pay of $16.50 per hour and overtime at $24.75 per hour, starting April 21, 2025. You expressed concerns about the contract terms, particularly Appendix B, which requires you to list your intellectual property, and you're hesitant to sign without clarity. You've been communicating with Erica White, who connected you with Lacey to address these concerns. The Black Swan method, as you described, involves mirror, repeating the last 1 to 3 words or key phrases to build rapport. Audit, observing their tone and response to gauge their position. Label, naming their emotions or situation, e.g., it seems like, to show empathy. 7-second pause, allowing silence to let them process and respond. Summarize, restating their needs and your understanding to align. You also mentioned no-oriented questions, e.g., are you against, to encourage agreement without pressure. Below is a draft email to Lacey using this approach, focusing on your experience, Appendix B concerns, and a proposal for collaboration, while keeping your tone confident yet open to walking away. Email draft to Lacey, UFC Gym contract negotiation. Plain. Show inline. This draft uses the Black Swan method as follows. Mirror, repeats, protects my life's work and works for both of us, to echo their potential priorities. Audit, observes their response to your questions, in a follow-up or their reply. Label, uses, it seems like, and it feels like, to acknowledge complexity and their perspective. 7-second pause, suggested for a phone call or implied by leaving space for their reply. Summarize, restates your need for Appendix B clarity and a collaborative solution. No-oriented questions, includes, are you against, and would it be unreasonable, to invite agreement. If you need more details on the Black Swan method or want to tweak the tone, e.g., more assertive or softer, let me know. Also, if you want to include specific contract terms from the 22-page document or clarify your personal brand further, I can refine the email. For now, I've kept it concise to start the conversation without overwhelming Lacey.
All right. So here's the actual email, and then I'm going to sign off and take a phone call with Dr. Jubb, and then upload that. This isn't the final draft. Maybe it could be, but it's a starting point.
Subject. Questions about Appendix B and contract terms. Hi Lacey. Thank you for stepping in to address my questions about the UFC Gym contract. I'm excited about the opportunity to bring my 30 years of martial arts experience to the team. It's been my life's work, built on blood, sweat, and tears. When reviewing Appendix B, it seems like it requires listing my personal brand and intellectual property, which is a critical piece of everything I've built. Are you against ensuring this section protects my life's work while aligning with UFC Gym's goals? Pause for response in conversation, or allow reflection in email. It feels like this might be a complex process, above my pay grade, to get right on my own. I'm considering using AI tools to draft it, but that could take time. Would it be unreasonable for UFC Gym's legal team to sit down with me to craft something that works for both of us? My goal is a contract that fuels my fire to contribute fully while safeguarding what I've poured everything into. To summarize, I want to make sure Appendix B reflects my unique contributions and protects my brand, either through my own efforts or a collaborative approach with your team. I'd love to hear your thoughts on how we can move forward. Best regards, your name.
Alright, well, it's a start. Let's see, where would I start? What would I change here? Thank you for stepping in to address my questions. I'm excited to bring my 30 years experience, but my life's work. It seems like it requires listing my personal brand and intellectual property, which is a critical piece of everything I've built. Um, are you against ensuring this section protects my life's work while aligning with UFC Gym's goals? I could actually stop right there, to be honest. There's nobody in the chat, so I'm gonna have to make this choice right here. Let's talk to GROK again. That's really good. Thank you so much. I I'm actually contemplating stopping the email right after the part where you wrote, "Are you against ensuring this section protects my life's work while aligning with UFC Gym's goals?" Because if the answer to that is yes, meaning, you know, I'm too much of a hassle, then that's it. That's the end of the conversation. I don't even have to ask them to get their legal team to sit down with me. And if she says no, make it happen, then I can come in with the, all right, it's going to take me a minute because I got to use AI unless, you got somebody that you can help, that you can send to help me with this, or you can help me. But what do you think, Rock? Can I end it right there? Are you against ensuring this section protects my life's work while aligning with UFC Gym's goals? Grok, grok, grok. Grockety grok. Oh, hold on a second. Wait, where does... I closed it. Alright, hang on. Hmm, 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 hmm. Yeah, it's cool. Hmm, hmm. So we got that, and now let's see here.
I hear you, and I think your instinct to potentially stop the email after the no-oriented question, "Are you against ensuring this section protects my life's work while aligning with UFC Gym's goals?" is sharp. It aligns perfectly with the Black Swan method's focus on getting to the core of their position quickly and efficiently. By ending there, you're setting up a pivotal moment. Their response will reveal whether they're open to working with you or if they see your concerns as a hassle, which, as you said, could end the conversation. If they say, yes, they're against it, you know where you stand and can walk away without investing more time. If they say, no, they're not against it, you've opened the door to negotiate further, and you can follow up with your proposal about using AI or asking if their legal team can assist. Here's why I think this could work. Keeps it concise. Stopping after that question makes the email short and impactful, forcing Lacey to address your core concern without getting lost in additional details. Leverages the Black Swan method. The no-oriented question is designed to make them feel safe saying no, which invites collaboration. It's a great way to gauge their willingness to engage. Preserves your leverage. By not over-explaining up front, you hold back your full position, legal team collaboration, until you know they're open to discussion, keeping you in control. However, there's a small risk. Ending there might feel abrupt to Lacey, especially if she's expecting more context or a proposed solution. Since this is an email, not a live conversation where you can pause for 7 seconds, she might need a bit more to understand your intent. You could mitigate this by adding a brief closing sentence to soften the tone, like, "I'd love to hear your thoughts on how we can address this." That keeps it open-ended without committing to your next steps yet. Here's a revised version of the email, stopping after the key question with a light closer.
Closer.
Hi Lacey. Thank you for stepping in to address my questions about the UFC Gym contract. I've dedicated 30 years to martial arts. It's my life's work, built on blood, sweat, and tears. Appendix B seems to require listing my personal brand and intellectual property, which is everything I've built. Are you against ensuring this section protects my life's work while aligning with UFC Gym's goals? I'd love to hear your thoughts on how we can address this. Best regards.
But wait, there's more.
If Lacey responds with no, indicating they're open to protecting your work, you can reply with something like, "It sounds like we're on the same page about making this work. Crafting Appendix B feels complex, above my pay grade. I could use AI to draft it, but it'll take time. Is there someone on your team who could help collaborate on this, or would you prefer I handle it solo?"
Alright, well, I'm gonna have to rephrase that too because that's not a no-oriented question. Can you have someone help me? No, she doesn't want to do that. It has to be like, is it crazy to ask for your help? Something like that. Anyway, um, I'm gonna send this one out. Copy. Let's just ask one more question. Alright, so that's really great. And the only other question I have is it too soon for me to send this email out? Because I emailed Erica and she told me that she was going to include Lacey in the conversation and she did, and I said something like, okay, but I didn't realize that Lacey was already in the conversation. So I'm wondering, should I wait till tomorrow to send this email? Because I don't want to be pushy if Lacey is planning on getting back to me. She just is busy. Or should I send it, because um, that's the right move. I don't know how else to phrase this. Um, I wanna send it now. This way I can just, be done with this, and then wait to hear back. But I also don't want to, like, I don't know, shoot myself in the foot. I don't think I can shoot myself in the foot. But do you have any insight, or can you look up anything based on what I said? Lacey is in the conversation, and I'm not sure if she got my email, but maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe I'll just send it anyway. Just just give me a little bit of help on this if you can. Oh, three people watching now. Wow. The longer I stream, the more people show up. I'm about to end it though. Grok, grok, grokity grok. My recommendation: send the email now. Look at that. Copy. Put this in a Google Doc so I don't lose it. Back to Grok. Copy and paste into Love Voice.
I get where you're coming from. You're eager to keep the momentum going with this email to Lacey but don't want to come off as pushy or risk derailing the conversation, especially since Erica just looped Lacey in, and you're unsure if Lacey's seen your last reply or is planning to respond. Let's break this down and figure out the best move. From what you've shared, you emailed Erica, she included Lacey in the response, and you replied with something like, okay, not realizing Lacey was already in the CC. Your concern is whether sending the new email now, Thursday, April 17, 2025, at 5:43 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, might seem too aggressive if Lacey's busy and planning to reply, or if waiting until tomorrow, Friday, is safer. You also feel ready to send it now to get it off your plate and move forward. Here's my take, considering the Black Swan method's emphasis on strategic timing and emotional intelligence, plus general email etiquette. Pros of sending now. Keeps the conversation active. Since Erica just looped Lacey in, your email is likely still fresh in their inbox. Sending now shows you're engaged and serious about resolving the Appendix B issue, which aligns with your goal of protecting your life's work. Clarifies your position. Your okay reply might not have signaled your concerns clearly. Sending the drafted email ensures Lacey knows exactly what you're asking, preventing miscommunication. Time of day isn't too late. It's late afternoon PDT, but if Lacey's on the East Coast, e.g., Long Island, New York, where the UFC Gym job is, it's 8:43 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. While she might not reply tonight, it's still within business hours for many professionals, and she'll see it first thing tomorrow. Frees you up mentally. As you said, sending it now lets you be done with this and wait for her response, reducing your stress. Pros of waiting until tomorrow. Gives Lacey breathing room. If Lacey's busy or hasn't seen the email thread yet, waiting until tomorrow morning, e.g., 8 to 9 a.m., shows patience and avoids any perception of being overly insistent. Aligns with business norms. Some people might find rapid-fire emails overwhelming, especially if Lacey's juggling multiple tasks. Waiting signals you're respectful of her time. Allows for her response. If Lacey's planning to reply today or early tomorrow, you might get more context, e.g., her role, willingness to help, that could shape your email. Potential risks. Sending now. The risk of seeming pushy is low, especially since your drafted email is polite and concise. However, if Lacey's swamped, she might not appreciate another email before she's had a chance to respond. This seems unlikely, though, given Erica explicitly looped her in to address your questions. Waiting. The main risk is losing momentum. If Lacey doesn't reply soon, you might feel stuck waiting, especially since you're eager to resolve this before the April 21st start date. Delaying could also signal hesitation, which might weaken your negotiating position.
Friday's a holiday. You're gonna have to go back in the video if you want, Sammy. They offered me $16.50, which is minimum wage. At most, I'm gonna get 45% of my private lessons. You know, the say so if I charge over 100, if I charge 125 an hour, which to me is a lot, but I guess that's what some of the coaches sell them for. If I charge 125 an hour, I get 45%. If I charge less than that, I get less than that. It's a whole scale. But the major issue for me is the intellectual property that they own everything that I do inside the gym. And if I'm not careful with this Appendix B, they can end up owning all Master Luki's League of Champions, which is not a risk I'm willing to take. So that was the potential deal breaker for me, unless they want to sit down with me and write up a new contract where I'm protected. You know, I'm stubborn, but in this case, I think it's going to be a good thing.
My recommendation. Send the email now, but with a slight tweak to acknowledge the ongoing thread and soften the tone, ensuring you don't come across as pushy. This balances your desire to move forward with respect for Lacey's time. Here's why. Erica looped Lacey in, indicating she expects you to engage directly. Your okay reply didn't provide much for Lacey to work with, so a clear, professional email now sets the stage for a productive conversation. The Black Swan method values reading the room, and sending a concise, empathetic email now shows you're proactive without being aggressive. You're less than 10% confident UFC Gym will agree to your terms, and you're ready to walk away. Sending now gets you closer to clarity, so you can either negotiate or pivot to your plan of growing your brand independently. To address your concern about Lacey possibly being busy, you can add a brief line to show you're mindful of her schedule. Here's the updated email with that adjustment.
Alright, this is probably going to be the one I'm going to send. Let's take a look. $16 is too low. I'm not trying
Hi,
to,
Lacey. Thank you for joining the conversation.
I'm not trying to see this from an ego standpoint, Sammy. It's just dollars and cents. You know, it's not like, oh, I'm Luke Humo, UFC fighter. It's just, wow, $16.50? Like some kid coming off the street to clean the mats? $16.50 is minimum wage. Minimum. They can't go any lower. Do they feed you clients? They have to, bro. They have to, and that's not what I'm worried about. Like, even the money issue, it wasn't a deal breaker for me until I put the contract into AI and I found out that they're going to own my image and they were going to most likely steal my intellectual property. That's the deal breaker.
Hi, Lacey.
Master Lukey.
Thank you for joining the conversation about the UFC Gym contract. I've dedicated 30 years to martial arts. It's my life's work, built on blood, sweat, and tears. Appendix B seems to require listing my personal brand and intellectual property, which is everything I've built. Are you against ensuring this section protects my life's work while aligning with UFC Gym's goals? I appreciate your time and look forward to your thoughts when you have a moment. Best regards.
There it is. Copy. Paste. Hi, Lacey. Thank you for joining the conversation about the UFC Gym contract. I've dedicated 30 years to martial arts. It's my life's work, built on blood, sweat, and tears. Appendix B seems to require listing my personal brand and intellectual property, which is everything I've built. Are you against ensuring this section protects my life's work while aligning with the UFC Gym's goals? I appreciate your time and look forward to your thoughts when you have a moment. Best regards. Then I gotta show you this. There's my signature. It's a GIF. Oh my god. I'm actually crazy, I guess, huh? No, but I'll put Luke Kumo. Should I put Luke Kumo The Ultimate Fighter Season 2 or just leave it Luke Kumo? Or should I not put anything? It's just Master Luki. Nah, that's it. Luke Kumo. Alright, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Send and end